Here's Fred Abbott, a successful Ford dealer's son. Fred has been out of school only a few months. He decided he liked the automobile business, and for some time now has been selling Ford cars for his dad. Fred has the makings of a mighty good salesman, and Dad Abbott is watching him closely. Listen to this.
It'll only take a few minutes, Mrs. Elder, and there's really no other way of showing you what a fine car this new Ford is. Suppose I call for you about 2 this afternoon. Oh, fine. I'll be there at 2.
I just heard you arrange for that demonstration. That's the way to get sales. Do you know a good demonstration route near where she lives?
Sure, I know that section like a book.
Well, you're the doctor. Let me know how you come out.
I'll tell you all about it when I get back, Dad. And if I don't get the order, you can point out where I went wrong. You know, 2 or 3 more of your lessons, and I'll be a pretty good salesman.
Well, you'll be a better salesman now that you've got your own demonstrator.
Yeah, I remember that lesson. Have your own demonstrator. Be sure it's the latest model, up to date in every respect. Keep it clean inside and out and free from squeaks and rattles. Right?
That's right, Fred, and it's awfully important. Demonstrating is the most important part of selling. And if you have to start the demonstration by apologizing for the condition of the car, you might better not demonstrate at all.
Right, Dad. I'll be seeing you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Abbott. I've decided not to waste either your time or mine going out on this ride. I've about decided to get a larger car.
Oh, gee, Mom, don't back out now. This new Ford V8 is the greatest car on the road. I want to try it myself. Oh, come on, Mom.
Yes, do, Mrs. Elder. The way Ford has been able to build so many big car features of roominess, comfort, and safety into this new V8 will be a revelation to you.
Well, since you've come out, I'll take a few minutes to go with you as soon as I get my hat.
I hear the new Ford will do 80.
Yes, it will. And do it all day without putting any strain on any part of the car.
Gosh, how I'd like to have one. Uh-oh, here comes Mother.
First of all, Mrs. Elder, notice the distinctive beauty of the 1935 Ford V8. As a matter of fact, its long, low lines and fleet appearance are so harmonious that you don't realize at first what a really big car it is.
Well, it's handsome, all right.
It certainly is. Look at it from here, Mrs. Elder. There's literally no angle from which you can look at this car that it fails to be beautiful.
Well, you know the adage about beauty being skin deep. Let's take our ride.
That's the real test. Please notice the exceptionally wide doors in this car, Mrs. Elder. Oh, by the way, as you probably know, welded steel bodies and safety glass all around are standard equipment on Ford cars. Do you find that seat comfortable?
Yes, more than I expected. I'm surprised that a small car would have such big seats.
And look how comfortable your son is in the rear seat.
Sit up straighter, James. You'll be round-shouldered before you're 20 if you slouch like that all the time.
The very fact that a full-sized man like Jim can slouch in the back of this automobile indicates how big it is, Mrs. Elder.
Yes, I guess you're right.
And there's room behind Jim for 2 big suitcases and a lot of miscellaneous luggage.
Well, that's a convenience. And here's another.
Oh, yes. You'll get a lot of use out of that glove compartment. Notice how large it is.
It would certainly be handy.
Yes, wouldn't it? Why don't you slip your purse in there now? There, it'll be out of the way.
Thank you. I will. I had no idea the Ford had so many thoughtful conveniences.
They certainly didn't overlook a thing. Don't you think this instrument panel is handsome? Most people like the contrast between the taupe background and the ivory-colored knobs.
By the way, what's that gadget up there?
Looks like a radio speaker.
Right the first time. And here's the controls and dial.
Gee, Mom, let's have a radio in our car.
We haven't bought the car yet.
Another convenient device is the way Ford has combined the ignition switch and lock. And notice how instantly this car starts.
It certainly seems to know its master's touch.
Well, let's go.
Right-o. Have you noticed what wide windows there are in this car? And how narrow the corner pillars are so that you have almost no interference with your vision?
That appeals to me. I'm a stickler for safety.
Good. I'll show you another good safety feature.
I suppose you know that light's red.
Oh, that's nothing. Watch me stop on a dime.
Oh, boy, are those brakes or are those brakes?
Well, it's nice to know you can stop like that if you have to. But why have to?
Don't worry about the Ford brakes, Mrs. Elder. You won't be in any danger with me driving.
I hope you're right.
Let's see you get away with the light.
Okay, Jim, here we go.
Boy, look at that. Up to 50 in second gear in almost no time.
Sure, that's the Ford V8.
Now, if you'll shift into high gear and slow down to about 30 miles an hour, we'll go on with this demonstration. Please remember that I'm the person that's buying the car, not my son.
Well, sure. All right.
Here's another red light. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop on a quarter this time instead of a dime.
Oh, gee, Mom, this is a demonstration, not a Sunday afternoon drive.
Quite all right, Mrs. Elder. This time we'll show you how easily the brakes work. You see? Now, notice how easily and silently these gears shift. You can scarcely detect when we're in one gear and when we're in the next.
You certainly have a very quiet, smooth-running engine.
Have you noticed, too, that there's no jerk when we start out or shift from one gear to another? That's almost entirely due to the special design of the Ford soft-action clutch. Notice, too, that you can steer with one finger.
That's fine. Then if you keep both hands on the wheel, it won't tire you out, will it?
Well, not at all, but the point I was making...
Oh, the point is made, young man, and I agree with you.
Oh, very good. Now, perhaps the best way to demonstrate complete ease of handling and the swift acceleration that this car gives you in high gear is to show you how easily it slides through traffic.
Atta boy, step on it.
Mr. Abbott, I'm not interested in racetrack driving.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Elder. Let me call your attention to another feature of the new Ford. If you'll turn your window handle just a half turn like this, you'll discover that you have adequate ventilation without any draft at all, and without an extra bar cutting off your vision in the middle of the window.
Well, that is nice.
And notice, too, that the Ford windshield can be opened wide for maximum ventilation in very hot weather. And now let me show you how this Ford V8 takes the bump.
Don't you think you'd better slow down? It looks pretty rough to me.
Now, just relax, Mrs. Elder. I'll guarantee that if you close your eyes, you'll scarcely know that we're on cobblestones at all. Here we go.
Well, of all things.
Boy, oh boy, if this new Ford doesn't ride swell.
That's exactly right, Jim. We call it the center poise ride. It was accomplished by moving the engine forward 8 inches, permitting both front and rear seats to be moved forward correspondingly, so that the passengers now sit between the axles where road shocks are definitely minimized. This change, added to the large springs, the lengthened spring suspension, and the double-acting hydraulic shock absorbers, gives you a smoother, more comfortable, safer ride than ever before. Now I want to show you one of the greatest Ford advantages. The Ford car has an amazingly short turning radius. That means that you can turn completely around in a narrow space. It means that you can get in and out of parking spaces with less trouble. Now, here's a narrow street. We'll turn down it. Oh, shucks, they've got it torn up for repairs.
Well, there's lots of other streets, aren't there?
Oh, sure. We'll take the next one. Now, this street is pretty narrow, but watch how easily we turn around.
The street seems to be narrower than you counted on, Mr. Abbott.
Well, it was a bit too narrow, but did you notice how easy and effortless it was to turn the wheel clear around like that? Now, notice how easy it is to park this car. There's a space right there.
Boy, can you handle an automobile.
It's the car, Jim. Anybody can handle a Ford.
I must confess that it does look easier to handle than most of the cars I've been looking at lately.
Now I want to show you how much reserve power the Ford V8 engine has.
Reserve power sounds quite important. How do you demonstrate it?
There's a long hill just up ahead.
Oh, boy. You mean the high ridge hills? Can you make it on high without a start?
We'll not only make it in high, Jim, we'll actually slow down to 10 miles an hour and maintain that slow speed all the way up to the top.
By golly. Mother, I'll bet there isn't another car in the world that'll do this.
And you notice how smoothly we're riding. Not the slightest sound of complaint from the engine. No vibration or sense of laboring.
It does seem to be doing it quite easily.
Now let me show you how fast it'll pick up from 10 to 70 miles an hour.
Atta, baby!
I'm not interested in going 70 miles an hour, thank you. You can show me how quickly it can pick up to 50 if you insist, but I'll take your word for that.
Oh, let's see what the car'll do.
I'm quite satisfied with what it's already done, thank you.
Well, you're quite right, Mrs. Elder. But it's mighty important to have a car that will do 70 and 80 miles an hour. That means you can drive all day at 50 or 60 miles an hour without putting any strain on any part of the car. And in an emergency, you can step on the accelerator and fairly leap away to higher speed.
Gosh, Mr. Abbott, how can such a small engine give so much power and speed? And so quietly and smoothly.
Well, there's lots of reasons, Jim. First of all, with 8 cylinders set in 2 banks of 4 each at a 90-degree angle, you get what engineers call overlapping power impulses. Then aluminum cylinder heads make higher compression possible, and that means greater power. Then, both cylinder banks and the crankcase are cast in one piece, resulting in remarkable freedom from vibration.
Boy, oh boy, what an engine.
Yeah, and that's only the beginning. Then you come to cylinders completely water-jacketed and polished cylinder walls.
Oh, pardon me. Don't you think we'd better be starting back?
Perhaps you're right, Mrs. Elder. Would you like to try driving the car?
Yes, I would.
Just slide across, Mrs. Elder. You'll notice that Ford has curved the gear shift lever so that you can move from one side of the front seat to the other with perfect ease.
I wondered why that lever was curved.
That's why. And it lets 3 people sit in the front seat in perfect comfort, too. See how easy it is to adjust this seat to suit the convenience and comfort of the driver? And just test those pedals. Notice how convenient they are?
I do feel right at home in this car.
You'll find that armrest mighty comfortable, too.
Why, it's just like the arm of a rocking chair.
That's just what another customer of mine said the first time she drove the car. Would you like to turn around and return by the same route we came?
Oh, my goodness. I had no idea an automobile could handle so easily.
Few people have until they drive the Ford. Oh, by the way, as we go down this hill, it might be a good idea to test the brakes.
Good gracious. It doesn't take much pressure to stop this car, does it?
It certainly doesn't. Now, I am going to take it easy and let you enjoy yourself trying out the car. Don't you like the roadability of this car as it goes around curves? No side sway or sense of being off balance. That's because, while the car is light in weight, it has an exceptionally low center of gravity.
I've just been noticing how steady it is.
All the more surprising when you realize you're rounding this curve at 42 miles an hour.
For goodness sake, I had no idea I was going so fast.
Oh, don't slow down for this cobblestone street, Mrs. Elder. I want you to see how easily the car handles over a rough road like this.
Well, what do you know about that? So far as actual handling is concerned, I don't even realize that we're going over cobblestones.
Now that we're getting into fairly heavy traffic, would you like me to take the wheel, Mrs. Elder?
No, I think I can handle it. As a matter of fact, I'm having much too good a time to give it up.
Oh, splendid. Why don't you run around past your place, and I'll get into your old car and drive it down to the showroom, and we'll have it appraised.
Aren't you going a little fast, young man?
Not at all. I'm just trying to get you behind the wheel of your own Ford V8 in the shortest possible time.
So you think you made a pretty good job of the demonstration, do you, son?
Well, I told you all about it, and here's the order. Isn't that the answer?
Not necessarily. We all get orders sometimes that we know perfectly well that we didn't do a good selling job. What do you honestly think? How would you analyze your demonstration?
Well, I certainly succeeded in reselling her the demonstration idea after she just about made up her mind not to have it.
Yeah, but as I remember your story, Jimmy helped you out a little bit there, didn't he?
Yeah, I guess he did. Well, then I got her to look at the distinctive beauty of the car from both front and rear angles.
Yes, that was all right. That was a good start.
Then I emphasized roominess, comfort, and the advantages of steel bodies and safety glass.
That was fine. I couldn't have done a bit better myself. But to get along to the part where you raced up to a line of traffic and then stopped on a dime.
Oh, I knew I'd hear about that one.
And right after it, as I remember your story, you tried to see how fast you could go in second gear and got called down again.
Yeah, but how could I know Mrs. Elder was such a conservative driver?
That's the very point, Fred. You ought to have found out first. If you'd really done a smart job of demonstrating, you wouldn't have been caught either of those times. As a matter of fact, as I remember it, just a few minutes after that, you got into hot water again by cutting out of line and trying to race ahead through traffic.
Well, sure. How else was I going to demonstrate how a Ford slides through traffic?
Not long after that, you started to turn down a narrow street to prove that the Ford car will turn around in a very narrow space.
Yeah, and I found the street torn up.
That was another mistake. And you followed that up by turning down another street, and it turned out to be about 6 inches too narrow. Yet you claimed you knew your demonstration route like a book.
Oh, I knew I'd hear about that again.
I'll give you credit for making a snappy comeback, son, by demonstrating how easy the Ford car is to park, although you almost slipped again a few minutes later when you reached the straightaway and wanted to demonstrate speed. And then, for good measure, you let the kids' enthusiasm and your own engineering knowledge of the Ford engine tempt you into a recitation of engine features that would have bored anybody except an engineer.
Yeah, I know, but I still got the order, didn't I?
Yes, that's true. But you might very well have lost it at any of those points. And as a matter of fact, you completely overlooked one of the most important sales points we have.
I did. Well, what was it?
Economy. Low gasoline and oil consumption.
Well, gee, Dad, Mrs. Elder didn't mention economy once. And I didn't think she was particularly interested in economy.
Fiddlesticks. Every buyer's interested in economy. Why, economy alone has sold a lot of Ford cars. Don't ever fail to pound economy whenever you get a chance. By the way, do you think you were smart to start back as soon as Mrs. Elder suggested it?
By all means. I'd completed my part of the demonstration. I'd slipped off into engineering details that bored her, and the sooner I could get her enthusiastic again by letting her drive the car, the better off I'd be. Besides, you know what you've always preached to me. Get a prospect so attached to the car that they hate to leave it, and your sale is made.
That's right. I just wondered whether you'd made that snappy comeback accidentally or because you were smart. But to get back to my basic criticism.
Yeah, what's the answer?
I can give it to you in 3 words. You remember that Ford film we saw just a little while ago called Woman's Choice?
You bet I do. It helped me a lot.
Well, in that film, if you'll remember, there were 3 key words governing a perfect presentation of the Ford car to women.
Yeah. What, how, and when.
That's right. Well, that film started me thinking, and I figured out 3 key words that seem to cover the science of making a perfect demonstration.
What are they, Dad?
Here they are. First, plan. Second, explain. Third, dramatize.
That sounds interesting. Go on, tell me what you mean.
Well, the first point, plan, is really quite simple, and there are 3 steps involved. First of all, plan your demonstration to fit your prospect's interests. Find out what kind of driving they have to do or like to do. Find out first whether they're interested in speed or power or safety or roadability or comfort or flashy performance.
Well, I certainly slipped there.
Yes, you did. But to go on. The second point under plan is to know definitely where to find road and traffic conditions which will let you demonstrate the features of the Ford V8 in the most dramatic way as was brought out in the solicitation plan slide film.
Well, I did a pretty good job there, didn't I?
Except for getting caught in a street that was too narrow to turn around in.
Yeah, I slipped there all right.
But you wouldn't if you'd known your route. Now for the third point. Practice every angle of your demonstration until you know it by heart.
But gee, Dad, I thought I did know every angle of the demonstration.
Maybe you do, but you didn't demonstrate properly to a conservative buyer like Mrs. Elder.
No, I guess you're right. Well, how about the next point? Let's see, the first point was plan. The second point was explain.
Right. And there's 3 points under explain, too. First, tell your prospect what you're going to do. Second, do it skillfully. And third, after you do it, explain the importance of that particular feature in terms of comfort, ease of handling, safety, satisfaction, pride of ownership, dependability, long life, or economy.
I don't quite get you.
Well, for example, if you had warned Mrs. Elder that you were going to drive up to that corner pretty fast and then jam on the brakes, she wouldn't have been nearly as frightened.
Yeah, I guess that's so.
Then if you'd told her that you were going to step on it at that signal light, she'd been prepared for it.
Yeah, you're right again.
Remember that when you demonstrated the car's fleetness in traffic, and when you wanted to demonstrate speed at the end, you mentioned what you wanted to do. And that gave Mrs. Elder a chance to turn down the idea.
She certainly turned it down all right.
Exactly. And saved you a worse bawling out if she hadn't had the chance to turn it down.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Now let's see what happened at those points in your demonstration when, unintentionally, you did warn Mrs. Elder of what you were going to do. For example, when you turned into that cobblestone street, you gave her a little warning, didn't you? And while she braced herself for the jolts that she expected, she wasn't particularly startled. Is that right?
That's right.
The same thing was true when you proposed to turn all the way around in a narrow street, and when you backed into that narrow parking space, and again when you started up that long hill. Each time she was prepared for what you were going to do, and prepared to pay attention to the point you were demonstrating.
Ah, I get it, Dad.
Well, that's all. Just remember that under the second point, explain, you want to be very careful to do all 3 things. First, warn the prospect what you're going to do. Second, do it smoothly. And third, call attention to the importance of that particular feature to the car owner.
By golly, Dad, you're 100% right on that. I certainly won't forget it either. Now, what do you mean by your last word, dramatize?
Well, you did a pretty good job of dramatizing the various points, son. Only some of them didn't get over so well. You dramatized the brakes by stopping on a dime. You dramatized acceleration by racing away at a light. You dramatized roadability by plowing over that cobblestone street. And power by going up that hill at 10 miles an hour and high. There's just two little additional things I think of that you could have employed to advantage.
What were they?
Well, one awful good way to demonstrate how practical the ventilator is to hold your hat up against the opening and then let go. The suction will hold the hat right there.
My golly, will it work?
It will if you're going faster than 25, and if you don't have a crosswind. You can always tell by testing the suction with your hand.
Well, I'll be darned. I'm certainly going to use that from now on.
Another stunt that dramatizes the short turning radius particularly is to find a good narrow spot on a very quiet street. Again, remember to warn your prospect. And then let the car turn around 3 or 4 times in a complete circle.
Say, there's a swell idea.
Sure, it'll work too. And if you come out of a turn, as you did today, by using just one finger to unwind the wheel, it makes the ease of handling that much more dramatic.
You know, Dad, these ideas of yours are great. Would you mind writing out those 3 trick words of yours so I can get a good look at them?
Not at all. Here you are. Plan, explain, dramatize. Follow those 3 words conscientiously in every demonstration, and more of your demonstrations will turn into sales.
You know, Dad, the more I learn from you about selling Ford cars, the more I realize that it takes a lot of planning and hard work. But after you get into the swing, there's a lot of joy in it. You feel like you're really doing something for people.
That's right, son. Knowing your product, having it to show, and knowing how to talk about it are the ABC of motor car selling. But making demonstrations is equally as important. Never forget that showroom presentation may make the prospect interested, but good demonstrations make sales.